There are many who have been asking me to run for chairman of the African Union. I even have some that have come up with proposals about how they're going to fundraise for me to run for the chair of the African Union. But you know what, though? I love grassroots.
Welcome to Afro-Caribbean Room, the channel that inform, inspire, and tell you as it is. We have in the past years whereas so many people have tried to get the motherland to unite, like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, and so many other great men, even Kuma, and even on my screen where you see Haile Selassie, the likes of Bob Marley, and now you have this very special lady, Dr. Arikwana, former African Union ambassador, who is trying to unite Africa. And so I want you to listen to some inspirational speech and informative speech that this lady have given to us pertaining to Africa. Listen.
So it's beautiful to listen to our children talk about the African Union, the model African Union. But I ask you children to take it a little bit further. It doesn't end with just a conversation about corruption in Africa. The bigger corruption in Africa is coming from outside. Try flying low over the DRC. You're going to see tarmacs in the middle of the jungle. You're going to see 747s flying into the DRC, picking up minerals and flying right outside the country. Do you think those multinationals are going to want to see peace in the DRC? Do you think they're going to want to see peace in South Sudan? No. A stable Africa is an Africa that cannot be exploited. So they will see to it that there will never be peace in Africa by any means necessary, unless you come to the table and do something about it. For a continent that doesn't have a single gun manufacturing company, we seem to have endless supply of guns. How? How is this okay that Africa continues to be exploited to this extent? How is it okay that the world has watched as France is taking cold, hard cash out of Africa? How is this okay? I want to know. United Nations, answer that. Secretary General Guterres, answer that. When you all meet every year in New York, what are you talking about? That is our reality as Black people. And only we can change that. Yes. I am very encouraged by the president of Benin. He has put in a formal request for all the bank reserves his country has deposited with France. Yes. So to France I say, we are watching you, France. There better not be a coup in Benin, because that is your modus operandi. There better not be any instability in Benin, because that is your modus operandi. I'm hoping that the rest of the West African countries, quote unquote, former French colonies, can also demand a refund of their deposits. Africa is on the move. Let's join hands. Let's support those countries in what they have started. And since I'm standing here in a historical Black college, that education and understanding is start with you, our youth. This is a fight that I know very well that we will not be able to finish. But golly, we want to make sure that you understand fully what is going on. So when we pass the baton, you understand the issues. No more shall we continue to be ignorant. Our eyes are open. We know our Africa. We are going to reconnect with our roots. African Americans, you must understand there is a void that is deep in each and everyone's subconscious. It is a void that affects everything you do. First, you must understand you have that void. In this country, with the exception of the American Indians, everybody is a foreigner. And everybody has their roots outside the United States. And the rest of the races are connected to their roots, with the exception of the African Americans. You're too busy running away from your roots. You're busy denying who you are. Well, guess what? It is what it is. You are an African, and Africa is home. And the sooner you wake up and realize and accept that Africa is home, the sooner you're going to fill that void. For as long as that voice is in you, you're always going to be like a ship without an anchor. The wind blows this way, here you go. The wind blows the other way, here we go. Find your base. Go home. Africa is where you belong. And Africa is where your roots are. Thank you.
We are privileged to be welcomed in the home of the former African Union Ambassador to the U.S., Dr. Arikana Jombori-Quor. We will be discussing development, security, and the state of the African women. Welcome to the conversation.
IMF, World Bank, all other institutions, they make African countries jump through hoops. Loans will never be able to pay. The US, when they borrow money, they're getting it in 1.5, 1.9 interest rate. Africans, when they get the same amount of money, they're paying 9, 10%. The people who don't need a break, they get a break. The ones who need a break, they don't get a break. The sheer survival of the World Bank, IMF, is based on the fact that African countries and many other developing countries do not succeed. Their success is based on our failure. That has to change. And guess who can make that change? We, the children of Africa, we, the Africans, are the ones who have to say, we know your game now. Enough is enough. We're not playing it anymore. And this is where the diaspora come in. There are more Ghanaian doctors in New York City than in the entire country of Ghana. There are more Nigerian doctors in LA than in the entire country of Nigeria. So let's be serious here. What Africa needs is capacity, capacity, capacity. And that capacity is in the diaspora. So it behooves us to bring the diaspora together. Let them understand what is really going on in our Africa. Diaspora are not going home. Diaspora are angry about Africa because they are not understanding the root cause of why Africa is where it is today. They think getting rid of a president will take care of the problem. Far from it. That president is just going to be replaced by another one who is going to equally suffer from the same difficult environment to work in. So let's look at an Africa that must be free to take care of herself, an Africa that's free from exploitation from outsiders. The multinationals who are stealing from Africa every day in broad daylight. I use an example of the DRC. If you ever fly very low over the DRC, you'll see tarmacs in the jungle. You'll see 747s flying into DRC, picking up minerals and flying right out. The same multinationals are responsible for arming young people and giving them MK-16s. Because why? Their satellites in the skies are telling them where that village is. There are lots of diamonds. So what do? Arm young people, drag them up, and send them to go chop off a few heads. The rest of the village runs away, so they come behind and do their illegal mining. We black people must understand what is really going on. Because what we are shown instead is, oh, look at those Africans killing each other. There are some serious games that have been played in Africa for far too long. And once we understand that, we can strategize as to how we can begin to bring the difference and bring the change that Africa needs. And that change can only come if the African diaspora are united. And the Wakanda villages, as I call them, it is our organized way of saying, starting with one African diaspora center of excellence, it will be a new city, a developmental hub that we can then take from there. Every sector is developed. Take healthcare. How many doctors do we need in this region to take care of this many people? We pick up education, same thing. We pick up engineering. We pick up electricity. How many megawatts of power do we have in the region? How many do we need? Be it solar, be it wind, be it hydro, be it geothermal, be it nuclear.
Yes, my people, Africa unite, and that's all we are asking for and pleading for, because they've come out with this program called Diaspora for the Africans to remember the motherland. And I'm going to give you a little history with Haile Selassie and Bob Marley. What happened with Haile Selassie? Haile Selassie came to Jamaica, when was it? 1966, and after he came to Jamaica, you know, it was overwhelmed, the welcome that Haile Selassie received, because you know that most Rastafarians have Haile Selassie as a god. And when Haile Selassie came, it was like everyone, even my father went to Kingston to see this Emperor Haile Selassie. And it was so overwhelmed that when Haile Selassie went back to Ethiopia, he had prepared a place that any Jamaican come to Ethiopia at the time, they would have a place to settle free of cost, the welcome. That's how much he was impressed with the welcome that he received from Jamaica. And I know that there are so many other great people that come to Jamaica, but none of them have received the welcome like Haile Selassie. But in 1978, Bob Marley went to Ethiopia and he went to Canaan. And when Bob Marley went back to Jamaica, he did this song, Africa Unite, and he released it 79. There was a war going on in where was it? The war was going on in Zimbabwe at the time. Started from 1964, the war was going on, and it never finished until 79 when Bob Marley released that song that said Africa Unite. And they invite Bob Marley back to Zimbabwe the next year, which was the 1980, to perform. And Bob Marley went back to Zimbabwe and he performed it there. And I heard that, get to understand that he paid his fare himself to go to Zimbabwe. The love that he has for the African people is just overwhelmed. And we all know the story after that. After Bob Marley went to Zimbabwe 1980, then he passed away 1981. May his soul so rest in peace. You know, and all Bob Marley, most of Bob Marley music, he was just speaking and singing about the liberation of Africa. Most of his music was about Africa, 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 the love that he had for Africa. And so now that we see that Africa is kind of like, you know, getting their act together, Africa is starting uniting and the stuff is start happening in Africa. It's just a wonderful feeling. So, you know, now this lady, the ambassador, former ambassador, is doing her thing. We have to hold her up and, you know, help give her all the support that she needs. And definitely I'm looking forward to make a visit to the motherland also, because I've never been there, and I'm looking forward to visit the motherland and very, very soon. So we need to give her that support, and all the bloggers and all the people that who can spread the news about the diaspora, get people involved, get it back in the school, get people encouraged and get excited about what is going on in Africa, because the Chinese are taking over Africa. We can't allow that, because if we allow the Chinese to take over Africa, guess what? We're not going to have nowhere to go. If we get kicked out of America, if we get kicked out of the UK, if we get kicked out of Canada and those places, Africa is the motherland and we need to claim it. So I want you to listen to this woman one more time.
Madam Ambassador, about 50 countries, a little bit more, 50 countries?
55.
55. Population of Africa?
1.27 billion.
1.27 billion people. Mm-hmm. Give me a couple of success stories.
Success stories, we are having increased rates of literacy. We have many African countries that are increasing their GDPs. 6 of the top 10 fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of good news coming out of Africa. But again, because of this same strategy of branding Africa as a diseased and dying continent, where people are constantly at war with each other, people are not seeing the good news out of Africa.
So what are the myths? What are the myths about Africa? Just name 3 things that we should get in our minds, that when Africa is in the conversation or Africa is in the news, that we should be thinking about. 3 myths.
1, Africa is the richest continent on earth by far.
Hello?
No, yes. no continent comes even close. 1. 2, we are all Africans, because life began in Africa. Life as we know it, I can tell you, my brother, right now, you do your DNA testing, I can tell you a good 50% of you is African. We are all Africans. And thirdly,
proud to be.
Proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then thirdly, I want everybody to know about the wonderful news coming out of Africa. Remember, we were talking about the Berlin Conference, how we were designed to fail through these little countries we were divided up? Well, guess what? Game is over. April this year, we saw our leaders come together and signing the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Yes.
Yes, so we have 50 countries that have already signed, and we're going through the process of ratifications. We only need 22 of the 50 to ratify. Already we have 10 ratifications deposited with the African Union.
So free trade agreement in Africa.
In Africa.
For African countries.
We're going to negotiate as one bloc. We have made a commitment as Africans that the only way we can survive, which is what our Pan-African fathers wanted, to speak with one voice, one continent, one voice. And we're finally getting there. We're finally beginning to bury the Berlin Conference.
Okay, African Union. What is it? What is it all about?
African Union. Remember when our Pan-African leaders met in 1964 and created OAU? It was during that wonderful Organization of African Unity. That's when Kwame Nkrumah proclaimed Africa was for the Africans and African Union now. 55 years later, we are yet to attain that perfect African Union. But that's okay. We are getting there. He also proclaimed you were not African because you were born in Africa, but rather you were African because Africa.
Okay, there you have it, my people. Thank you for visiting my channel, Afro Caribbean Room. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. We want to spread the news to each and every African American all over the globe, because it takes me a while to know what's really going on in Africa. And now that I've seen the light, we got to stand up for our right. And if you want to see more of this wonderful lady, you could find her on YouTube if you type in Arikana. That's Arikana. And you'll find so much more of her speech. She's absolutely adorable. Love her to bits. Yes, so like, share, subscribe, and leave all the comments. We take all comments, good, bad, and indifference. We take them all. Thank you very much for listening, and be safe.